Well, it's been a while since my last video, about 10 months over the winter period. It's been a bit cold here, and in fact my silver pickling pot froze over in the garage, and I thought if the pot's frozen then it's too cold for me to be working. I did manage to do a bit of work on the bike. The aim is to get this MOT. It failed the MOT last year on a number of points, which I'm working through as weather gets better. The garage has been a bit of a mess, so I'm doing a bit of a clear out. The issue that I'm dealing with right now is that the centre stand bolt has seized to the brake lever, and I'm having a nightmare getting that bolt out and unseized from the brake lever, and I think I might have to cut it off. But in this program we're going to be focusing on the fuel cap, or the petrol tank lid, or gas tank lid, as the rubber seals failed in this. I've done a lot of investigation on replacing this lid, or rather the seal, hopefully, and with no joy. There seems to be no way of replacing the seal. You've got to replace the whole thing. So I've got a couple of examples. We'll explore those, and in fact I've got an old tank up in the loft, so we'll have a look at that seal and try and investigate how we go about either replacing the seal or in fact replacing the whole entire cap itself. So that's the focus of this video. Let's start by looking at the issue with this cap. So this cap failed its MOT due to the seal failing on the cap, and you should might be able to make out the cracked nature of this one. You can see all the brakes across there. There doesn't seem to be any way of removing this internal unit and replacing this seal. I've not been able to find any of these seals of this size, and I've read about lifting this out, and there are clips behind here to remove this, etc. But without having actually a replacement seal, there sort of seems to be no point investigating this. I have managed to get a couple of these caps off some patent parts, as it were, and an original Honda one, so we'll have a look at those and the differences in them. And like I said earlier, we'll have a look at the petrol tank in the loft and see if we can see any of those clips or pins that are behind there, so that maybe I could replace the seal off the new one. But yeah, we'll have a look and we'll investigate and see what we can do. I may try and record having a go at removing this cap. You've got to drill out the pin that holds it in on the side, so that's the dome end, and the other side is then just splayed out, and there's a pin hold the cap on, and there's a pin also that then holds the actual locking mechanism on this side. But we're going to have to drill those pins out, those rivets out, and replace those, and I'll show you some of the replacements I've got to sort of manage doing this. So no further ado, let's get the garage cleared up, let's get the bench clear, and let's have a look at these. So these are the two caps I've got. I've got one which is apparently an original Honda part. So there's the centre part from the same as mine. There's the seal on it. They're nice new. But as you can see, there's no obvious way of removing that. And here we have the pattern part, and as you can see, we've got a screw there to be able to remove the centre part. It doesn't seem to be much difference in them other than that, though it is worth noting on the original Honda part you get these little, I'm assuming they're sort of nylon bushes that are sort of in there. Let's try and zoom in and have a look at that. Get to focus. So there's the nylon bushes in there on both sides. But on the pattern part, they're non-existent. So this surface, as it were, goes flush against the bracketing unit on the tank. So if you're going to use one of these, then you might want to try and look out for these on the original part when you come to take it off, if you're not using one of these. I will say, from a sort of a quality point of view, which is surprising, is that the so-called Honda part actually has quite a nasty burr on the edge here, so that when it's on the tank and you want to pop it off, you've actually got quite a nasty sort of burr just down here on this leading edge. Obviously don't want to file it away because that will then mess up the chrome finish, but The pattern part doesn't. It's a nice smooth end to that, so as you try and lift it up, you're not going to get your fingers sliced open, which is a bit sort of disappointing. Don't ask me why I've got two, but I have, so let's investigate them and have a look at them. So I thought firstly, obviously I can't and I'm not going to try and strip the original, but we can, with this screw, take this off and have a look at the build in this. So let's get this stripped and have a look at this. So it's a simple Phillips or crosshead screwdriver. Undo that screw. And there it is. So taking this out carefully to see what we've got. Behind here we've got a spring. There's the actual main unit. Get a spring on there, keep it pressed down, and here we have the actual seal plate. So this is relatively easy. We just sort of undo that and Bob's your uncle. There's the seal. Notice how on the top side of it the seal is actually thinner than it is on the side that would actually meet the mating surface on the tank. So it's worth remembering which way around it goes. And this piece is in two parts, then with an internal seal inside. Note how you've got a little bit of felt there that lines up with the air point there. So let's put that all back together again, or let's put that to one side and I'll reassemble that in a moment. Looking at the rivet, so this is the rivet. I can't get in too close to it, but there's the rivet there, so the domed head on that side, and then the idea is this side has got a hole in it, and you'd obviously, I should put this through and then have to splay this end out to seal it as it's gone through the hole there. So line this up, and then yeah, pressure on that side, and then splay this out on this side. I haven't got any tools for doing that, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to manage that. So, and also bearing in mind that actually I think I'd like to return the tank and the bike to its original colour, so we might have to strip all this off to have it painted. I went and also then purchased some of these pins for it. Now these pins are solid, and on this end have got a groove in this end to take a little C-clip. Hopefully you can see that in there. There's a little C-clip that would then go through there. So the idea would be that we choose which of the lengths we want to use, and in this kit there are, if I remember right, there are 3 different lengths. Yeah. So one of these would be for the fixing mechanism, and the other one would obviously be for the actual cap itself. So looking at this, my sort of guess is it's the sort of the middle size one would be the one that we'd be wanting to use. So that would go through there, obviously through the mounting unit inside, and then a C-clip clips onto this end just here. And the aim being obviously get a little bit of play in that, but that's what we get. And then obviously allows us to remove this in future, and so I got a little set of those. So I'm thinking that what I'm probably going to have to do is take the old one off completely and replace it. I could obviously try and pry this out and this off. It's not going to be an easy job to take this off, and if this unit is a similar construction to this one, which one assumes it is, with the old breather spacing in there and all of that gubbins, then it's going to be a bit of a job to actually hold these two pieces together in the original to then get this seal back in. And there's not this rubber seal isn't very flexible. It's quite hard. So I'm thinking I'm going to replace it with this one. I also understand that actually one can purchase these new seals separately, so in future, if and when the seal goes, one would be able to, you know, just replace the seal rather than having to go through this whole kerfuffle of having to replace the whole entire cap, and they're not cheap. So yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna do, is replace it with this this part, which also, like I said earlier, is nicely finished off with nice bits. And then the other one, I'll, I don't know, sell it, eBay, put it in the spares box for the future. So we'll just fix that up, close it up, so all the way up. That screw bites, and that then still leaves us play and the springy action in that. So yes, so those are the two examples. Like I said, that's the original. You can't take the seal out, and in this example anyway, you've got quite a nasty finish on the edge there, which isn't particularly nice. I might, yeah, I think I'll probably leave that. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to replace it with this. I think these ones are also used on, you know, some of the other CB, some of the later, maybe some of the bigger CC Honda CB200s. Sorry. So yeah. So anyway, let's we'll clear this away. Clear all these rivets and bits away so I don't lose any bits, and we'll get the old tank down and just have a look at removing this seal off the old tank. I'm having a go at removing the seal, and just having a look back here and seeing if there is any way of just replacing this seal. But to get it, you've got to buy the whole unit. Anyway, let's clear this lot away and get the tank down. Right, here's my old bank off the old spares bike. It's not in very good condition. There's quite a bit of holes in this tank. I covered them in tape, just try and seal up the holes. But yeah, it's not in great shape. But you know, if I find someone that can do a nice bit of brazing, maybe I can seal this up. Anyway, our focus is the cap today. So this is the cap, and as you can see, this one is also failing nastily, broken up, etc. But hey, this gives us an opportunity to have a look inside and see what we can do. So if I carefully peel this back, you might be able to see inside there. Let's try and zoom in. So you might be able to make out the two plates in there forming the breather unit that we saw beforehand. But yeah, let's just rip this off. Let's get this out. But as you can see, get some light in there. There we are. Not focusing great, it's not a brilliant camera. Hey, there are no clips or pins in here to allow us to remove this inner unit. You'd literally just have to prise back the seal. Now obviously with this seal that's failing, it's fairly easy to pry this open and get this open, but the new one, this seal, is actually quite hard rubber. So I can't see any way that one could replace the original rubber seal. Well, if you give it enough welly, enough time, I'm sure we could. But again, like I said, you know, you're going to have to buy the whole cap unit just to get this seal. And so, sort of thinking about money-wise, one might as well replace the whole unit. So I think what my options are going to have to be is I'm going to have to drill out the rivets, and let's see if we can get some nice light in here so you can have a look. So there on that side is the splayed end of the rivet, so we're going to have to drill out from this side that splayed end to allow us to take out the actual rivet, and that rivet will then pop out. And then on this unit here we have exactly the same. I don't know whether it'll focus, hopefully just in there you'll see again the splayed out rivet in there to remove the catch, the latching unit for it. So I think in general the best options I'm going to have are to actually remove and replace the entire cap on the motorbike. So let's have a look at that. So yeah, so I think the best thing I'm going to do is replace this entire cap. I mean, this one has got a little bit of pitting on it, so it'd be nice to get a nice new shiny cap on there, particularly if I'm going to return this to its original colour. Unfortunately, when it was parked up, someone dropped some ink, dropped on it and scratched the tank, and also when it's parked up, somebody's motorbike fell over and cracked my side casing as well. So I'm going to have to repair that, and yeah, if I'm heading down towards a full restoration of the bike, one might as well think about giving it its original livery, as it were. In this case it was the green livery, which you can see just through that scratch there, but I'm going to have to find someone who can do a proper job on that tank, take it back, hopefully to metal, make sure it's in good nick, which, you know, it's not leaking fuel, so I assume it's in good nick, and do a respray in its original colour, hopefully, and then obviously try and get, you know, the black face on it with the nice trimming on the side. But that's you know, cosmetics. Let's make sure, let's get the practical stuff done, let's get it MOT'd. So that's a look at the Honda CB200 petrol tank cap, or gas tank cap. We've looked at some patent parts and original Honda parts, and I think I'm going to be going probably for the patent part on my my bike, and that'll be another thing on the list of repairs that needs to happen to it to get it MOT'd. Whoa, stop the press. I've just jumped onto Dave Silver's website. Brilliant supplier for parts for the CB200 and other Hondas. I've just been flicking down to get the old part numbers for you for the cap, etc. And lo and behold, it appears a late addition to their listings. If I can just find it here for you, is you can now purchase the actual original seal for the original fuel cap. So look in here, so this is the original fuel cap, this is their aftermarket part, and lo and behold, they've now got a listing for the seal. I've just had a long chat with them on the phone, and this seal that they're now offering is the original seal for the original fuel cap, not the aftermarket part. Now, as we saw on the video, the aftermarket seal has different widths. So this width here on the side here for the mating surface to the tank, to the surface, the upper surface of the seal, let's say. So I've just had a long chat with them, and apparently they now offer this seal. Now, like I said, this is the seal for the genuine tank, so that's got even width on this side here from the front side to the back side. Now, so obviously this means that we don't need to take the cap off, we can just replace the seal. Bonza. They had a look at the parts listing for this, and this seal is not shown on any of the Honda parts listings, and apparently a member of their staff has actually drawn the seal in separately on the sheet and given the parts number for it. So it's obviously a late addition to the listing, which is great news for us guys who are trying to, and ladies, who are trying to keep our bikes in good condition. So I'm actually gonna order one of these seals. We'll get that. I might post it and show you me changing it over, but that means I don't have to replace the cap, which is great news. But I don't get a shiny nice new cap on there if I do that, you know. So yeah, there's still some thinkings. Do I go for the nice easy replacement seal, which might still be a right bugger to replace because it is quite a hard part, or do I go for a nice new shiny cap? Anyway, but the important bit here is that at least on Dave Silver's website, so that's davesilvers.co.uk, you can now purchase the separate independent seal for the original fuel cap, which is brilliant news. So yeah, there you go.